Have you ever seen this on my hand? It's actually meant to be seen like this. Well, do you remember the time when you were at school and you would put those scribblings on your hand to remember, oh, that's what I need to do? Well, that's basically what this is. And for me, it represents a virtual accountability partner. So that's something I came up with. If you ever see VAP and it's meant as virtual accountability partner, well, that's my idea. Anyway, why do I have a tattoo on my hand? And what is a virtual accountability partner? Now, first of all, like I said, back in the days, I would write things down on my hand as to remember, oh yeah, this is what I need to do. This tattoo reminds me that I am holding myself accountable. Or better said, because it's a virtual accountability partner, I pretend that there is a virtual person out there who keeps me accountable. And whenever I look at it, it's like, uh-oh, I need to do something. Now, I do have something extra, which I started out with, and that's actually a background picture on my phone with a sturdy looking face. Some people out there know who that person is, but it represents a person who is a no-nonsense person. So go do it, or, bye, or worse. Anyway, this topic is about accountability versus responsibility. And why do I say so? I've been looking for accountability partners for so many years. Now, I think I'm now part of a group called Ultra, and fortunately, the whole group is meant to keep one another accountable. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work, but I do love Ultra because the one who runs it, Brendan Burchard, he's the one taking us to the next level. So that's amazing. Besides that, there's one person nowadays that I have found to actually be really helpful. And now we get to the responsible part. Regardless of whether she checks in with me, I was the one who asked her, do you want to help me out? And, well, I don't even think I asked her, do you want to help me out? I basically said, you know what, when we were brainstorming, I'm going to do this every day and I'm going to let you know what I've done. I have been posting on Instagram since December 1st last year. A few months later, I started doing my Friday Night Lives weekly. Again, later, I started doing my Monday motivational messages. This is part of it, by the way. And yes, it's also part of a training. It's module 5 of the Chicago Coaching Challenge. And if you go quickly with me, the first one letter is a C, courage, H, higher level, I, incentive, inspiration, C, communication or community, and then we get the A from accountability versus responsibility. Now, getting back to that friend, when we were brainstorming, I said I need to work on it every day. And especially when I had a coach, we went through so many things that I could do, that I could change. And, if you ever can get a coach from Brendan Burchard, do it. CHPC. Ooh, I'm a CHPC too. That's a certified high performance coach. Anyway, the one I had, she is amazing. I cannot say anything else. Handpicked and selected probably by Brendan. But besides that, we talked about what I could do in order to take things to a higher level and when I could do it. And I guess that thinking about it in that way actually got me to do certain things every day. Take, for instance, Duolingo. So Duolingo is an app. I use it to learn Spanish. Now, that friend I was talking about, she's got a kid. She's almost 10. And she said, Auntie Lexi, I want to do Duolingo too. And, well, she wanted a little bit more. And I said, well, start with the free version. If you do it for a month, then I'll upgrade my subscription. Of course, Mom paid too. And then we are going to hold one another, yes, accountable. So there are these quests, and then you can send one another like little messages like, hey, don't leave me hanging, please go on. And you have to do literally things together. Well, she is almost 10. When I work with her, I tend to, help her out a little bit because I've been doing it over 900 days. And she's actually been doing it, I think, already for over 100 days. So kudos to her. Anyway, I came up with certain time slots to have things done. So I know that at midnight, Duolingo changes to the next day. If I haven't done it, I usually get a free streak unless I haven't done it for I don't know how many days in a row, which rarely happens. It happens when I'm really busy or when I'm traveling that I actually miss days. Or when I'm really tired, then I might fall asleep prior to midnight and then wake up just after. So I've learned to actually, if I'm still awake, to do it before I go to sleep. And I go to sleep after midnight. So whenever I have the time, few minutes, I work on it. I don't have to do much. I can choose to take a lesson which takes a long time, which is new, but I can also choose to just do it like 1 minute. Now, apart from that, we are talking about accountability versus responsibility. And when is that accountability so important? Well, when you have your own business, when you're an entrepreneur. Of course, it always applies to everyone when it comes to their life. I mean, very rarely can you say you cannot be held accountable, especially when it comes to kids. But even then, you want to install a sense of accountability in them. I mean, somewhere you have to start, right? And yes, I know that it takes up till 25 for the brain to be fully developed, including that sense of responsibility. But yet, let's instill it as early as possible. But I'm not talking about them being responsible for you. I'm talking about them realizing what their actions actually can entail. And I'm especially referring to bullying. Now, that's a whole different story, because what I'm talking about is actually the opposite. It's working together. And that's what I would expect when it comes to accountability. And with that friend that I'm talking about, the one from the 10-year-old who does Duolingo, yeah, that one, she helps me to, well, actually, I show it to her. I tell her what I've done, and sometimes I say, oh my God, this was a lot of work. And she looks at it, and she honestly says if she doesn't like it, but she also compliments me when I've done a lot. But if I don't send it to her, the question, of course, is, does she ask me? And then it comes back to, it's up to me whether or not I tell her. Now, if I look back on especially the last couple of months, this month has been really hectic for me. And as a result, I wasn't able to always get my Monday motivational message out there. on Monday. Now, the time zones are always relative. I always say to people, I live on American time, so that's 6 to 9 hours time difference. And saying so, I allow myself to post it at the latest Tuesday morning at 9, which is midnight Pacific time. So, but sometimes I can't make it, other things prevail. So I might fall asleep. I might have to do other stuff. And then I say, okay, I haven't been able to do so, but I'm still responsible for getting it out there. So I tell myself, okay, that's good that you didn't make it, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to do it anymore. You still need to do it. So that's what I'm doing. Getting back to the virtual accountability partner. For me, having that tattoo on there, and I honestly don't look at it every day, just like I don't look at my screen every day anymore, just like I don't always write things down anymore, although I should do that. I'll honestly say I should do that. I do think about what I have done before going to sleep. Evan Carmichael has a name for that. And I always called it pillow talk, but it's actually the pillow test. So before you hit your head or lie your head down on the pillow, just think about, have you done it all? And I came to realize that what happened was actually I didn't go to sleep, but I started doing that thing. So now I try to be ahead of that. That is easier. Now, talking about the pillow test, it's about, okay, have you done what you wanted to do? If you talk to Brendan Burchard and you listen to his daily fires, which is in the Growth Day app, then you can actually see, well, here, because it's audio, how he says, we have this app and you can write down your goals, which you want to have finished by Friday. He calls them Friday finishers. I think that's really cool. Now, the thing is, I know by now what it is I want to get out there. And because I've told myself I'm doing something every day, everything, the whole picture basically changes. So I know when my deadline is. So right now I'm doing the Chicago Courage Challenge. I started last week and I had planned on being done with it today. Well, I can tell you, I'm not done with it today. There have been a lot of complicating factors, and one of the most important ones being I underestimated it, because the system that I'm using, again, sponsored by Brendan Burchard, well, actually not sponsored, he helps reinvent it, improve it. So he's part co-owner. But well, first of all, you need to understand how it works. That has been a struggle for me for a long time now. But I keep on doing it again and again and again, and I'm getting better at it again and again and again. And then they have set up emails and other stuff, explaining things, making you think. So and this is true. When I was thinking about the blog post, I was like, you know what? I'm going to use one of those email structures. I'm actually going to use it for my lesson, because one of them, which is called Share Knowledge, has 3 reasons why people would need to read that post. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I'm actually using certain structures nowadays to get an idea of how am I going to categorize this? What am I going to put in there? What are the main things that I want to share? And actually, that's quite helpful. So the email is already done. Now I'm recording the video, which is both for the blog post, remember, Monday Motivational Message, and also for the course, which is Module 5, which is Accountability versus responsibility. Now, having said all of this, today I was talking to someone, she's one of my students, and she started doing the challenge with me, and she has already finished, so way to go. And I'm so proud of her because the whole goal behind this challenge is to get your message out there. I wanted people to show others what they are working on behind the scenes. So when they get their product or service out there, that people actually know, oh, that's what he or she have been talking about. So, or they. Having said so, we talked about a lot of things, and it's kind of funny. She's in my group coaching training, and because of it, she already knows what's going to happen. So basically, people in my group coaching training, they get to witness and review everything that is going to get out there. And also when I write a blog post, I usually use the blog post for the training next day, unless of course something is going on which I think is more important. So my group coaching training is something I either come up with on the spot or I already have prepared it. It all depends on what's necessary for the people in the group. And also other times I use, yes, that CHPC, Certified High Performance Training, because there are a number of modules out there and they are amazing. So, and at first, it took me a year to actually start using them, but now I'm using them in the group coaching and I love it. So that's the good news. But getting back, accountability versus responsibility. No matter what, whatever system you're using, whatever hacks you are using, whether or not there is someone or a group close to you, it all comes down to you in the end. You have to decide that you're going to do it. You have to decide when you are going to do it. And you have to take action. Well, I always say it's one step at a time. And if you do something one step at a time, whether it's 1 minute or half an hour or a couple of hours, that's up to you. But it's about consistency. Keep doing it. Now, my challenge is called the Chicago Courage Challenge. Chicago refers to the inspiration as in Chicago. It's also an acronym which I can use in multiple ways. I discovered that. I can use it in a way talking about Chicago, but I can also use it when it's related to this whole challenge and the courage to actually start doing things. Now, the whole goal behind the challenge is to get that message out there, to get moving, to get started, because taking that first step is often the hardest thing to do. People have come up with all these reasons why we can do it. We feel tired just thinking about it, immediately energy drain. We have experienced something that didn't work out, so we're telling self, I can do it. You see something that's unfamiliar and is, ooh, do I need to learn that? I can come up with a zillion of reasons we actually give to ourselves why we can do it. But if you actually take the time, maybe meditate a little bit first, and yes, I do have meditations too, also in the challenge, then, you focus on, oh, I can actually do it. I can make it work. You can even focus on seeing the outcome. So, having said so, what do you do when it comes to getting things done? Who do you hold accountable? Someone else or yourself? Do you dare taking responsibility? And if so, how are you going to do it? Go check out the Chicago Courage Challenge if you want a little bit more support. I can promise that there is a lot of footage in there which will help you think about things and make you more courageous and especially more confident to get out there. Do you want to know more about the Chicago Courage Challenge, about the behind the scenes? Then go there, click there, yes, right there.